I had to do this. I don't normally do this, but I had to actually put something on paper. Is there anyone else that'd like to say something before I do? No, I don't need that many pages. Look, thank you for your patience. I know we're talking a lot about him, but that's why we're here. That's what we need to do. It's so important to hear stories, laughter, and share our experiences, our own personal experiences with him, because he wasn't your standard individual. We all know that. When he walked up to you, you never knew what you were going to get. You wouldn't get a compliment. He would point out other things firstly, but then he would give you a compliment.
Yeah.
Stephen, you just did me a couple of times there, because again, there's so many things I've forgotten, and when I decided that I wanted to say a few words and pay homage and tribute to this man, there was so many mixed emotions and things that I had to deal with firstly, but I came across something really, really awesome, is I don't have to always talk a lot. I can put it down really quickly. So I've tried to do this with a man that I admired since I was big as Luxie. And Luxie's running around, a beautiful granddaughter of Andrew's. He had a presence, and I want to share some of that with you. So I'm going to start, forgive me, because I have to start from the beginning. Uncle Andrew. Firstly, I wish to welcome everybody for coming, which I think I've already done. From near and far, and you've all come to pay your respects and celebrate Andrew's life. That's what we're here to do. This is what this is about. I'd also like to apologise up front to my two beautiful children, Kobe and Ella, and Auntie Helen now, because the language that will be coming out of Daddy's mouth during this speech is not normal, but it needs to be done. For those that may not know me, I'm Terrence, Andrew's little nephew.
Yeah, right.
Or to Andrew, his little nephew. He loved to say, "You should see the big one." Every time. To Andrew, I was also the goody-goody nephew. Igor. Buzzard.
Yeah.
.com. Forward. Gunslinger. Where'd you park your horse, Forward? He loved giving everyone shit.
Yep.
You all had a nickname. He was always witty. Smart-ass comments for us all. That's why we loved him. But he wasn't always the best at it. And he loved it when you gave it back to him harder. There was the most common ways he'd address me, unless it was loser, shit for brains, which was one of his biggest favourite comments, which came from my dad. My dad's favourite saying was shit for brains. And he used it, he loved it. Your father rang me. He said, "What are you doing, shit for brains?" He loved it. Now, apart from Uncle, this is who Andrew was to me. He was also Uncle, better known to me as the bad uncle. At times, my dad, my best mate, a teacher, sometimes, of not what to say in public. That's Andrew. My mentor, my lifetime entertainer, he was always had my back and I had his. He always laughed, and we laughed together most of the time. At times edging on madness and uncontrollable gut busting, because we could not keep our shit together, because we would laugh so much about things. He had some nicknames for him too. My favourite was Billy Big Ears, the Angry Troll, Harry High Pants, but mostly it was Ears. How you going, Ears? He had nicknames for us all. Most, he would share some of the famous nicknames of all for him was Losers! He loved to say that, and I'm sure you agree? And he would say it with such a passion. "You're all a bunch of losers!" I can see him up in the tree now.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can hear him saying that. Way back, as a little bloke, I always was so excited to see Uncle Andrew. He'd drive into the small town where I lived. He'd usually be sporting his brand new car. It was always a Sleeker or something flash. Wasn't it, Auntie Chris?
Yeah.
Sorry?
It was always something flash, like a Sleeker.
Oh, whatever
Green one, red
whatever he
one,
wanted. Yeah.
whatever he had at the time. He just bought it and he'd drive into town.
Great too.
He'd always schedule a what do you call it? A pit stop. That's what it is, a pit stop. Yes, it still runs in the family, Sam. He would call into our place, usually to use our amenities. I was always excited to see him drive in, and I'd ride my BMX down and greet him with a big smile. But there was times when he would drive in and we wouldn't be home, and you could always leave your house open in those days. So Andrew, being Andrew, would go in and use the amenities, not flush it, and leave us a message saying, called in to see as you weren't home, but I left you a present. True. He loved going fishing with us. We introduced him to the game of golf. That was interesting. I'll never forget the first time we took him. I would have been about 8, 9. I learned a new word that day on the backswing. Sorry. Fuck! Dad kept saying, Andrew, Andrew. What are you doing, Andrew? Stop saying that. I'd roll around on the grass laughing. Sometimes he'd collect me on school holidays. Being the school teacher, he'd come and collect me. One trip I remember really well was to Smithton. Andrew and Chris had a lovely piece of land outside of Devonport. Andrew decided to get some fencing wire on the way home from Paltina, where I lived. And it cost about $80 for this wire. It was barbed wire. Oh, look at this, Terrence, he said. This is the go. We're going to go and do some fencing. Oh, that's good, Uncle. So up to the block we go. He taught me many things on that trip. I've listed them. Number 1. When rolling out a brand new roll of barbed wire that costs $80, which is a lot of money back then, don't roll it down the hill as it may get out of control. Yes, it did. Number 2, I learned. A 4-letter word, a swear word, which you see on the back of utes, see you in the NT. As he disappeared over the hill, chasing this barbed wire. Number 3, make sure you wear gloves when holding and leaning back on barbed wire to strain it when Uncle strains it back, because yes, it will snap. I still have the scars. Number 4, don't lift heavy things above your capabilities. My first nut strain due to lifting school desks. Yep, they've never returned to the original size. Number 5, Andrew. Music, and his brother, Uncle Rat, Stephen. They played music together for many years. I was always in awe of these guys, and I was. Stephen opened up Pandora's box for me there before. I was not dry-eyed. The memories just come flooding back. Those guys meant so much to me. To see my dad, firstly, with his music, and it was awesome. Being a little kid going to watch these guys rehearse in sheds and play music and stuff like surfy music, stuff that you hear, and it's like, wow, that's what they did. But Uncle Andrew and Uncle Stephen did a different thing with music, and I used to be in such awe of them. So I got invited, as Stephen said, to join the band. And Andrew saw something in me, and I'm really honoured that he did. And he made it hard for me. He challenged me. He really did. He knocked me back, actually. He gave me the position and he went, no, you're not listening, you haven't done what I've asked, you don't really understand it. Lift your game. Yeah. So I did. So I joined the Bad Uncles. That's what I used to call them. I was about 18. What an experience. It's all right, Stephen, I won't tell it all. We had a band called Sharky and the Thin Man. Yes, you guessed it right, Andrew was Sharky. Of course he was. Andrew was always entertaining, both on the stage and off. So you never knew what, as Stephen touched on, what you were going to get. I had anxiety at times when Andrew was on stage, especially with the microphone. He made many friends and just as many enemies. But those enemies still saw something in him and loved him. I was working at Cradle Mountain and we played music up there for functions and so forth. One function in particular, I got Sharky in the band to play up there. Now Andrew loved his food, which we've talked about, Stephen talked about, and very high standards with Andrew. It was always the best of the best, especially around seafood. All Andrew's dreams came true this night. We played the gig. It was a successful gig. I had the key to the cold room of one of the best resorts in Australia. We went in, walked in, Andrew spotted a roll of camembert that big. He tucked it under his arm with 2 packets of crackers and went to bed. Next morning he shared the story and his cheese adventure. He put it out on the window of the roof of the lodge that night to keep it in the snow, which would take care of it. Unfortunately, 2 possums found it and were wrestling it and took off with it. And he spotted them, making away with his cheese. Very funny. I'm almost done, I promise you. In 1991, we headed to Queensland. The rest is history. Anne and I played music together, landscape together, did lots of shit together, had fun together. There were so many stories up here in Queensland. What a journey. It's been awesome. Andrew was always busy, but would not hesitate to always offer his assistance or help. He was always around mowing, mulching, planting his mother-in-law's and father-in-law's gardens. He always looked after others. He was always watching what needed to be done. He'd turn up unannounced. Sometimes exciting, sometimes not. But his heart was always in the right place. He even offered help to me and Kerry at times with the kids. This was quite funny. I'll share a couple of them with you. As parents, Kerry and I were pretty keen to have the best dietary requirements for our children. So the first opportunity Andrew got, he took Kobe out for a few hours to smash a heap of beefy pies at the Budrum Bakery. And yes, Kobe still talks about it, which is a great memory. Andrew loved to be a role model, giving advice. He did this on many occasions when offering to drop Kobe off to his mates one day. Apparently the conversation went something like this. How you going, Kobe? Good. It's all shit, you know. Do you have a girlfriend? No. Good, they're effing trouble. They take the steering wheel out of your hand, push you out of the car, and you end up scrapped and battered and bruised and shit. Where's your mate live? Have a good day, see you later. Now you'd all be aware that the hard work Andrew was putting into his latest album. This has been quite a journey for me with Andrew with this last part of this. And sadly he's not here to hear it. That for me is what tears me inside. Because I know how important it was to him. At times he put it first, but I don't believe he always put it first. He always talked about other things around that. But without that, he would pull up, come and have a listen to this. And I'm sure you've all experienced this.
Yep.
There were people here that have been dragged to his ute on numerous occasions to hear the second version or the fifth version of the seventh version of the song that was better before the fourth version, but now it's the eighth version and I'm much happier with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He absolutely loved this journey with his music. And I think, without going on any further, there's some other crap there, but I really, for me, to have that CD that he's left behind for us all, that legacy, his songwriting, his music ability. Stephen, you undid me with the words about how he admired what I did, but there's one thing I actually learnt in the last few months. Is whilst I gave him the tools to meet Angus, and thank you Angus for everything, is that how I admired him with his ability in music and what I saw in Andrew was revisited in these last few months of prior to what happened, because he stepped it up. He actually listened to the advice and he went with it, and his songwriting and everything that we've got left on this album is mind-blowing. So he's taken top spot again for me. All right, so it means the world to me that we have that. So please listen to it. When you listen to it, and they are in there for you to take. We got them on 12th hour, 11th hour, whatever they call it in showbiz. It was very frustrating and stressful not thinking we'd get them in time for you guys. I know he wants you all to take a copy, and I want you all to listen to it in your own time. Don't just put it on when you're doing other shit. I want you to sit down and listen to it. He's opened up a lot of stuff to us. He opened his heart, his honesty, and most of all, his amazing ability to write songs. And he let other people help him tell the story. That's the little lesson I taught him. He taught me more than that, but I embrace the outcome of what has happened with the album. I wish he was here to share it with us. That's shit. But I tell you what, he is here with us, and he wants you all to think of him and laugh, tell stories, swear. You're all a bunch of losers! Thank you very much.
Thanks, Terrence.
Enjoy the rest of the night, alright? Thank you. I will be playing the album. I'm going to put it on.
Yeah.
And I'm going to crank it a little bit. It's going to be hard to listen to, but we celebrate it. Think of it with a celebration. Alright, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Well done, Terrence.